Meanwhile, the big story, John Bolton, gone.
Bye.
Here is Fox and Friends trying to work this out. So
this is outnumbered, actually. Kilmeade's the outnumbered one.
Okay, this is outnumbered. Okay, so what happens is...
Why am I outnumbered? There's a lot of other white people here. Oh, I got confused. Sorry.
This morning, it's announced that John Bolton has been fired, right? Did he tweet it out? Did Trump tweet it out first?
Let's see. I think Trump
tweeted it out first.
Okay, so Trump tweets it out first. John Bolton
Though
is
clearly
gone.
not Trump. Not
right.
Fun
Well,
tweets.
yes. Somebody who can put together a sentence tweeted it out in his name. And then moments later, Bolton apparently a little bit upset, said that he offered to resign last night. And President Trump said, let's talk about it tomorrow. And apparently, after I fire you, was the part that he left out of that sentence.
Gotcha.
But here is...
it was just like with Omarosa.
Yeah.
I don't like to hear that.
Yeah.
Let's check on this tomorrow.
Really horrible. Let's talk about it tomorrow. I mean, look, this is what you do because you want to make sure that they don't steal any pencils. So that's the way that you do that. That's the way the axe drops around here too.
Sharpies out his disgusting mustache.
We don't want anybody walking away with a microphone. So it's just like, oh, you're not fired. We'll talk about it tomorrow, and then all the locks are changed. I just didn't want him to take home his mustache grooming kit. I wanted to keep that here. But here is Brian Kilmeade trying to explain this to everyone on Outnumbered.
John Bolton just texted me just now. He's watching.
Can you read it?
He said, let's be clear, I resigned. And I said, do you mind if I say that while you were talking? And he wrote, yes. So John Bolton has just texted me to say, I resigned.
Okay.
Well, wait a second. So let me just be clear on what happened. So Bolton tweets out in response to Trump saying this, like, I said last night I resigned, then he told me he would talk about it tomorrow. And then probably somebody got to Bolton and said, like, dude, you got to take that back. And so he texts Kilmeade and says, now you can say that I resigned. I totally resigned.
I do like the comedic potential, though, that Brendan pointed to, though, of like, I mean, of course, Bolton said, yes, go ahead, say it. But it is funny of like, do you mind? Yes, I do.
Well, that's the weird part.
Don't do it, Brian.
Yes,
you
please
idiot.
don't. I do mind.
Seriously.
I meant I do mind.
I do. Yes, meant yes, you idiot.
He said, I resigned.
Okay. So he answered, yes, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead and say it because I did not want to say that.
For all the obvious reasons, right?
So John Bolton has just answered the president's tweet by saying, yes,
why are we doing this? Like, why are we I know why we're doing it. It's a talk show. Breaking news. But why are they doing it? Why are we seeing this play one against the other almost in terms of, what the narrative is? Is it important, or is it just that the president has moved on and he's going to hire a new national security advisor?
Well,
yeah. I'll tell you why we do this, because they're completely incompetent. I mean, it's very simple. This is the 80th time this has happened. Somewhere around like the 10th or 15th time, it became pretty obvious.
That is great. Why are we
just dealing with sheer incompetence?
I just don't understand this doing it over Twitter thing. It's very odd.
Is this a new thing?
This is so strange. Brian, why are they doing this? Brian, you're an idiot. Like you have the capacity to pretend that nothing has happened before, too.
It's like you look at your kid's homework and it's like 3 times 7 equals 28. And you're like, what does this mean?
Why are we doing this?
All right, let's go to the phones.
Can we just say, though, I mean, very positive news from the perspective of warmongering with Iran and maybe even regime change in Venezuela. And just to underscore 2 things, this all amounts, like Donald Trump has put the whole globe into a tailspin for something that amounts that amounts to absolutely nothing for the past couple of years. And then that he's still better than your average Republican who actually wants war with Iran.
Sometimes incompetence, if used properly,
seriously.
everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
If this was Rubio or Jeb Bush,
to a certain extent,
my God.
To a certain extent, it reminds me of the time at Air America when we were in bankruptcy and we had no executives. Like literally, it just ran on inertia, and the absence of people screwing things up was one of the more successful quarters that we had. Let's go to the phones. You're calling.